Hi there, my name is Ryu. I'm from the Divide Guild on US Zul'jin, and this is my Protection Paladin Guide for World of Warcraft Cataclysm 4.3 Dragon Soul. In this guide, I will go over spec, the rotation for tanking, gear reforging, etc. Also, how to optimize your gear for certain encounters and spec for certain encounters, and to optimize your survivability and damage output for some of the heroic encounters in Dragon Soul. Okay, first let's go over the talent tree. This is my cookie cutter spec, 31 in Prot, 10 in Retribution. It is going to change depending on the encounter. First talent, first tier, Divinity, increases all healing done by you and healing effects on you by 6%. As a tank, this is a very good talent to take. 6% more healing is always good. That's about all you can say about that one. Seals of the Pure increases the damage done by your Seal of Righteousness, Seal of Truth, and Seal of Justice by 12%. This is pretty big. We use Seal of Truth mainly for tanking, and its censure is the dot that it places on the target, which just got a buff for Ret, which also buffs Prot. So your censure will tick quite hard and keep your threat up. When you're not tanking, like for tank switch, it keeps your threat right up there. So that's definitely a talent that you might want to take. Eternal Glory. As you see, I didn't put any points in this talent. Your Word of Glory has a 15% chance not to consume Holy Power. Since the Word of Glory nerf, where it got a 20-second cooldown, this talent is pretty lackluster. Back in tier 11, this was good. When Word of Glory had no cooldown, you could double Word of Glory yourself in tough situations to give yourself a pretty big heal. Word of Glory does heal very big on you because it's based off your Vengeance and your attack power. But since it's a 20-second cooldown, the only potential for this is you could do a Word of Glory and then not consume Holy Power and still get a Shield of Righteousness or an Inquisition off, which doesn't give you that much DPS, so I skipped this talent. Improved Hammer of Justice. As you can see, I put no points in this either. Decreases the cooldown on your Hammer of Justice spell by 10 seconds. I believe it's 20 seconds or 30 seconds with 2 points. Once again, when you're main tanking bosses, not many of them are affected by Hammer of Justice. Nothing can be stunned in Dragon Soul that I know of, so not really a talent that you need to take in Dragon Soul. Toughness increases the armor value of items by 10%. Pretty much a no-brainer. You want as much armor as you can get to decrease the damage you take. Judgments of the Just. This is going to be your Thunderclap, Blood Plague, Icy Touch, the melee and ranged attack speed debuff that you put on as a tank. Every time you judge, melee and ranged attack speed of the target is reduced by 20% for 20 seconds. Your judgment has a 6-second cooldown. This buff should always be up. It's your tank debuff. Gotta have it. Hallowed Ground increases the damage of your consecration by 20% and its decreases its mana cost by 40%. This talent is something you put a point into to get to the next tier. It is not that good. Consecration, unless there is a lot of adds, and I will get to that later on some of the encounters, Consecration just doesn't hit very hard. It's a very small portion of your DPS. If you use Consecration on cooldown, it will be the lowest portion of your DPS and therefore your lowest portion of your threat. It just isn't good unless there's a lot of adds. So I put 1 point here to get to fill out my talent points, but not something I don't use Consecration in this spec. Sanctuary reduces the chance you'll be critically hit by melee attacks by 6% and reduces all damage taken by 10%. In addition, when you block or dodge a melee attack, you gain 3% of maximum mana. Alright, this talent is awesome. The 6% non-critable, need that, definitely. Reduces all damage taken by 10%, no-brainer, gotta have it. Returns the mana whenever you block or dodge. You should be block capped by this tier, so definitely you want that. This keeps your mana pool full, so you can always use an ability. Hammer of Righteousness. Hammer your current target for 42% weapon damage, causing a wave of light that hits all targets within 8 yards for 3260 holy damage. Grants a charge of holy power. Any AoE situations, trash, ads, anything like that, you do not Crusader Strike, use Hammer of the Righteousness. It gives you holy power and does AoE damage. Definitely have to have as a tank. Wrath of the Lightbringer. This is your biggest DPS increase talent in your tree. Increase the damage of your Crusader Strike and Judgment abilities by 100%, and increase the critical strike chance of your Holy Wrath and Hammer Wrath spells by 30%. Very, very good talent. 2 points needed. Grand Crusader. Whenever you Crusader Strike or Hammer Righteousness deal damage to your primary target, they have a 20% chance of refreshing the cooldown on the next Avenger's shield and causing it to generate a charge of holy power if used within 6 seconds. Good talent to have. Another way to build holy power, so you can keep hitting the Shield of Righteousness, which is your biggest threat talent. Definitely, it's a good one to pick up. Shield of the Righteous. Slam the target with your shield, causing holy damage. Consumes all charges of holy power to determine damage dealt. 3 holy power, it says there, 9880, which is of course modified by your attack power. In raids, my shield will hit with 3 holy power if it crits for 50 to 80k. Huge, huge talent to take. Your primary threat talent. Reckoning. You have a 20% chance after blocking attack that your next 4 weapon swings within 8 seconds will generate an additional attack. Definitely want Reckoning. Reckoning has been a very good threat talent always and remains to be that. And since you're going to be block capped, you're going to get that extra Reckoning proc almost every time you block. Vindication. This is your other debuff. Reduces physical damage done by your primary target by 10% for 30 seconds. Vindication, you're going to always use Crusader Strike or Hammer Righteousness to build up holy power, so you're always going to have this debuff on the target. 10% damage debuff is huge, must have. The nice thing about Prot Paladin is we put up our debuffs pretty much automatically, just going through in our rotation. We don't have to do Demoralizing Shout, we don't have to Thunderclap, we don't have to do anything else. It costs us no extra globals, and our debuffs are both up on the target. And you should always have them up. Holy Shield. Increases the amount your shield blocks by an additional 20% for 10 seconds, 30-second cooldown. Very good to take. I actually macro my Holy Shield to Crusader Strike. You don't have to do that. It just gives me maximum uptime. I never have to worry about actually pushing the button for Holy Shield because every time I Crusader Strike, it's up. So that has its downfalls as well. There's times when you want to time your Holy Shield as more of a cooldown. But if it's just a steady damage intake, macroing it in is very easy in a way to ensure that you have about a 33% uptime on Holy Shield. Guarded by the Light. This talent increases your Word of Glory by 5% when used to heal yourself. If you put 2 points in it, it increases your Word of Glory by 10%, and any overhealing puts a protective shield on you for the amount overhealed. This talent used to be better back when Word of Glory had no cooldown, because you could combine this with Eternal Glory, and what you could do is you could double Word of Glory yourself. The first one you could use to heal yourself, the second one you could put a shield on yourself. Back in tier 11, Blackwing Descent and such, I used this huge on Morchok for the, or not Morchok, Maloriak, I'm sorry. Maloriak for his black phase when he was blowing that black crap in my face. I could heal myself up, put a bubble on myself, and absorb almost 2 full seconds of that breath he did. Now, since Word of Glory has that cooldown, and you're rarely at full health, it's not as good for most fights. Still good on some fights, as I will get into with my secondary spec. Divine Guardian. The biggest cooldown in the game, the best cooldown in the game for the raid. If you have 4-piece, all party and raid members within 100 yards, excluding the Paladin, take 20% reduced damage for 6 seconds. There is nothing that does more raid protection than this. The bad thing is it only lasts 6 seconds, so you kind of have to time it out. But with the 4-piece, you get the 100-yard range, you get the 2-minute cooldown. It is incredible. You can watch the raid's health slowly dip, pop your Divine Guardian, watch everyone's health slowly go back up as the healers heal them up, and